Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1. Devin Allen, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3. J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by our own chaplain, Wesley McDuffie. After the invocation, please remain standing for the pledges. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you. We thank you for allowing us to rise one more day. We're realizing that we don't even deserve to be here another day. But it's only because of your grace and your mercy that we're even allowed to stand. But Lord, since we arrived, since we got up this morning, allow our lives to be meaningful, that we might touch someone's life this day, that we might make a difference in this county, in this state, in this United States of America. Whatever we do, Lord, that it will bring glory to you. Lord, I continue to ask for prayer for the leaders of this county, that you'll continue to allow them to lead us in the path that you would have us to go. Knowing, Lord, a lot of times we don't know where we're going ourselves. But, Lord, we need clear direction. And you're able to provide that. So give us the strength, give us the courage, and, Lord, give us the ability to stand and withstand. It's in Jesus' name I pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Chaplain. Mr. Manius.
Your Honor, unlike the chaplain, I think I'm going to use the microphone.
Turn it on. Did you kill something back there? You got the dirt dauber or the wasp? That's the second one today. You know, if we had a good facilities department, we'd be able to take care of those kind of things. The purchasing agent had to kill one. Chandler, did you kill the other one, or did Olga got the other one? So you're 1 for 1. You're 1 out of 2 there. You're doing all right. Would you like to continue, Mr. Manius?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention, Your Honor. What did you say?
That makes several of us.
Your Honor, we have one announcement as it relates to the agenda this morning. That's under the briefing section, item 12A. We're going to remove that from the agenda at this time and bring that back at a later date. Thank you, Your Honor.
Court members, you have before you, if I can get through here, the minutes of our regular meeting of November the 12th.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have a couple of, we have a proclamation and a resolution. The first proclamation is on Small Business Saturday, and that's for ratification only, so I'll move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I have a resolution. If you would read that into the record, please.
Global Entrepreneurship Week. Whereas during the week of November 18th through 22nd, Global Entrepreneurship Week will inspire, connect, and engage the local community of entrepreneurs, innovators, and investors throughout Tarrant County. And whereas with more than 50 events, the community will be exposed to all aspects of entrepreneurship, leading to greater cooperation and connectivity throughout our local entrepreneurial ecosystems. And whereas Global Entrepreneurship Week 2018 was a great success, hosting 17 events in 15 locations across the county and attracting more than 1,000 people, in 2019 Global Entrepreneurship Week is expected to triple last year's success by hosting over 50 events in 25 locations throughout the region and will attract more than 3,000 people. And whereas a Kauffman Foundation research report found that found there would be no net job growth in the U.S. economy without startups. In their first year of existence, startup firms create a national average of 3 million jobs each year. The employment power of new businesses shows the value of investing time, effort, and funding towards expanding Tarrant County's entrepreneurial ecosystem. And whereas Global Entrepreneurship Week Fort Worth celebrates the innovative, hardworking, and passionate entrepreneurs in our community, throughout the week we will celebrate the entrepreneurs who served their communities, bolstered our economy, and we will pledge to support for them in their pursuit of the ideas and innovations of tomorrow. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, proclaim November 18th through 22nd to be Global Entrepreneurship Week, in witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 19th day of November 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And we have,
I believe we have Cameron Cushman and Robert McLean maybe to accept this proclamation. If you will meet me at the podium, please. Present to the two and get a picture. All right, and any comments you'd like to make, please feel free to do so. Sure.
Yes.
Appreciate what you do.
Yes, thanks so much.
All right.
Thank you for this recognition. Entrepreneurs are important to our city. They start businesses that bring new innovations to market. They help create jobs, and they do a great good for our city and our county and our neighborhoods. And this Global Entrepreneurship Week is just a small effort to try to recognize the great work that they do. Starting a company is probably the hardest thing that most people do in their entire lives. And we want to support them with community and resources and put things around them that can help them maximize their chances for success, avoid failure, create more jobs, grow faster, and bring those new innovations to market. So thank you again for your time and for recognizing all the great work that entrepreneurs are doing right here in Tarrant County each and every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Captain.
I agree with you 100%. I can remember very vividly about 36 years ago starting an accounting firm, and I can see the days leading up to it, the days that it actually happened, and several of the years thereafter. So
You made it.
I made it, and I'm very proud of the firm and very proud of where it's gone. So, and it is a very critical part. You know, we started off with about 5 employees, and today they're a little over 600. So it's very rewarding from that standpoint. I know you have an announcement. Before you get to your announcement, I want to just highlight that last week Tarrant County had its National Adoption Day, and front and center is there Mr. Wilder. Where is Mr. Wilder? Is he? What do you? Well, bring them up here and kind of talk a little bit about what y'all did, and y'all come on up. I know you have to come up next to him, but you know we all make our sacrifices and have our crosses to bear.
Make it short.
It has been my pleasure and honor for many years to be a part of National Adoption Day. The district clerks got to perform a number of paperwork and money aspects, as well as be involved in the planning of the committee that puts all this together. Even as they said Friday, even back to the days when we were doing it on Saturday, we did ways to avoid overtime on that, but we still never had a problem getting people to come out on Saturday and work. So it is a great, joyous day. I hope that if you'll just like to show you up here, it's really neat how the volunteers do all. I don't have young grandchildren anymore, so I have no idea what these people are here as far as. I see a representative from the evil empire back there in the back, but I think I see Batman. But The kids love this. These are all superheroes who come in costumed like this every year, and all of these families and adopted children to be are very happy to see them. On the staircase there is my staff, and let me take this opportunity to introduce Monica Foster, who's the manager of the Civil and Family Division in my office, Tara Raby, who's an assistant manager over the courts, and Bill Hahn, who's the supervisor that works with all of them to put the nuts and bolts together in the back office work that you don't really see. So once again, I appreciate the recognition and appreciate the recognition from the Tarrant County Bar Association that we received Friday, and look forward to next year.
Thank you all very much for you do. I understand this is great. Commissioner Allen, I believe you have an announcement.
I do. First off, I want to thank the community for supporting our toiletry drive. We had an open house this past Saturday. There was so much going on this weekend throughout the community, but we had a great turnout, and most importantly, we did gather quite a bit of toiletry items to donate to TCC Southeast Campus. We plan to host a similar event out of our Mansfield office early next year, so we'll be sure to save the date. That event also will have a donation component to it to make sure that we continue to support our community college students at the Southeast Campus. And then later this week on Friday, November 22nd, we will be hosting our Taco Bowda Party, and this is to benefit United Way of Tarrant County. We hope to see you there. It will be from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Arlington Subcourthouse.
Court members, you have before you our consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion is second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Public hearing today. We have a public hearing to consider the status of the sexual status of the countywide polling place program. Mr. Garcia, please come forward. And I guess the first thing I need to do we want to do the presentation? We want to do his presentation first and then open it up for...
Presentation first, then comments.
Come ahead.
Morning.
Morning.
Your Honor, members of the court. Today we ask to have a public hearing to consider applying for a successful status in the countywide polling place program. As the court knows, we conducted our election last November 5th for the first time under the vote centers model, the countywide polling place program defined in the Texas Elections Code section 43007. In order to continue to participate in the program, we would need to request the Secretary of State to allow us to have to consider it as successful and go into a permanent status in the program. One of the requirements for that is to have a public hearing so that the court may hear feedback from the public, and if you decide to take the action, then authorize us to apply with the Secretary of State. So I wanted to share some numbers of what the program was. I know they're going to come up on the screen in a few seconds, and then hear from the public.
Do you need to push a button or...
I'm not sure that I do.
There
it
we
is.
go.
Okay, perfect. So, let me click here. Okay, I got it from this point on. Okay, so the first number that I want the court to see is this infographic, which we'll be posting on the website. Over 50% of the people who voted on Election Day, November 5th, 2019, voted in a precinct that was not the key precinct we would have assigned under the traditional polling precinct-based model. So to do this, what we did was we took the distribution that we would have created, the usual combination of precincts that we did, and then we looked at where the people who lived in those precincts cast their ballots. And we were able to separate it in these many voted at what would have been their key precinct or home precinct. These voted in some other place. And that's the number you have on the screen. Over 50%, it's literally 50.81% of voters who voted on Election Day voted at a precinct that was not their home precinct. Turnout increased. We wanted to show you. We then looked at where the increase happened and how it happened. And we found that only 25% of the locations that were used had a decrease in turnout compared to the last November election 2015, which was a similar one we could find, a constitutional amendment right before a presidential. Every other location had an increase of some sort. Most of them fall in this category between 25 and 100%, so most of them almost doubled, or were close to doubling, and a few of them, 16 of them, had an increase that goes somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000%, so they just were off the charts. And where do I think this was boosted the most? We made a decision before the election that we wanted to keep the early voting locations in the precincts where we had one. So instead of, and I keep referring to the same example, but instead of moving out of Keller Town Hall after the end of early voting and moving into the church we used to use, we decided we're going to stay because we had a lot of people show up on election day saying, I've seen the vote here sign for 2 weeks, I'm here to vote. And we would have to tell them, we had in the old days, we had a crew of people there we called the voter lookup to tell them, you're not supposed to vote here, you're supposed to go to this other place. And not everyone was from the precinct. So a lot of that's got to do with the fact that we kept those places. In fact, when you list the top 30 places that had turnout increase, 21 of them are those early voting locations that we kept on site. The next stat I wanted to show you was a little bit of the breakdown, because there's always a question of how does this turnout happen. So, like I said, 50.81% of people who voted on election day voted outside their precinct, and when you look at the statistics per commissioner precinct, they're all, I would say, fairly close to 50-50. Commissioner Precinct 1 is the one that had less people voting outside of their home precinct, not their commissioner precinct, their home election precinct. Commissioner 2 was almost a 50-50 even. Precinct 3 had the one where most people voted outside their election precinct, and Precinct 4 as well was, there we go. I'm doing something wrong here. Let me get this out of here. Of course I am. Okay, so I'll click on something else. Are we finding further? There we go. Precinct 4 is the one that is another one that had over 50% of people, but if I would just roughly summarize it in 50-50. This was one of the benefits we knew we were gonna have from the program. Of course, no one was told you have to go somewhere else, you have to get a provisional because you're at the wrong place. So when you look at the number of provisionals we had, we ended up having a little under 300. Looking at statistics from previous elections, provisionals for voters that showed up at the wrong location would have been anywhere between 30 and 60% of the total number of provisionals. So we would be looking right now, instead of the high 200s, at something like 400 or 500 provisionals maybe that we would have had to deal with. Most of them, and all of them would have had to have been rejected. So it's just process we would have had to follow and all that. And then, because this is meant for the public, there's some numbers there that we're going to show for people to know a little bit of the extension of it and how to contact us to keep giving us feedback. That's the general numbers of what the program threw out, but I also wanted to show you, and we can switch to the maps now, a little bit of visually what it means to allow people to vote anywhere. And so we're going to see some maps show up at some point.
Maybe. We're having to end one program and start a new program. That's why there's a delay.
So I got two things I wanted to show you. And a lot of this data, again, we've been putting together this week post-election. So it's was working on a weekend. Here we go. So I wanted to show you for each commissioner precinct the top 3 places that we saw had the most ballots brought in. Right. So it's just a quick map of Commissioner Precinct 1, the JPA, we call it the Como Health Clinic. Precincts in white, election precincts in white, had no ballots cast there. Precincts in any kind of shading had ballots cast at that location. The location's that little red dot where you see the dark spot. So you had people all the way from up here in precinct, 3 on this corner cast ballots here. Benbrook Community Center was the other one that had the biggest dispersion in number of ballots cast. In the Southwest Sub-Courthouse. All 3 were early voting sites. In Precinct 2, the Mansfield Sub-Courthouse, and again, notice how you have ballots cast from precincts all the way up the north of the county and surrounding areas. Elsie Odom, and the Arlington Sub-Courthouse. Again, 3 early voting locations. Precinct 3, the Rec of Grapevine, the Recreation Center of Grapevine, the Colleyville City Hall, and the South Lake Town Hall. They brought in ballots from just about almost every precinct in Commissioner Precinct 3. And Precinct 4, the EMS ISD building, the Eilmat and Saginaw ISD building, the Longhorn Activity Center, and the Sheriff's Office North Patrol Division. Again, brought in a lot of ballots from a lot of places around the county. Those are the numbers and the maps I wanted to share with you, to give you an impression of how the program was able to capture and help people from all over the county. We don't see a pattern of any particular area in the county being more benefited than others. I think the numbers are pretty spread across the county evenly. I don't know if the court has any questions or if you want to open it up at this point for the public.
Before we go to court, let me go ahead and open the public hearing. We have several folks who have registered to speak and some who have just put in forms but asked not to speak. So we're going to start off with Dana Tollbridge. Please come forward and give your name, address, and give us your comments. 3 minutes is the approximate time frame.
Good morning. I'm Dana Trowbridge, 7909 Hewlin Park Circle in Fort Worth, Texas. I am here to speak not against and not for. I am here to ask you to look at emails that I have received from election judges and alternates concerning the election and the problems that they had in their polling locations. There were problems in 3 basic areas. There were problems with training because they weren't taught how to do paperwork training. There were problems with paper jams over and over, which led to many, many spoiled ballots that had to be spoiled and voters had to revote. And places were short-staffed. I know that there was one, and I know it happened all over the county. At the Junior League of Arlington, there were problems, and they were ending up having to send people other places because their lines got so long. So there are problems. This was not a total success. There definitely were problems with this election. This is one of the reasons why we asked that it not happen for the 2020 season. We were hoping that we could maybe wait until after the 2020 season to do it. We've already done it, but it was not a total success. And the problems that were there were not all human error. When you have elections having to go out and replace duos because duos are not working, or take more duos, there are problems that we still need to work on, and some of those are with the e-poll book, and that highly concerns me for the next election. If those e-poll books are not working properly, are not hooked up properly, and the county does not have that visual to say that we're not sending people to go vote somewhere else after they voted at one location, that's a problem to me. So there are problems that need to be looked at. I have brought for the court a copy of emails that I ask election judges and alternates to send me. They are specific to process and equipment, and I would like to present that to you guys so that you can have it to at least view before you make any specific decision.
You'll give that to Mr. Maynes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you just have the one copy, right?
I have, there's just the one copy, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Eddie Lou Mayfield. Thank you very much.
Morning.
My name is Eddie Lou Mayfield. I live in District 1, Roy Brooks, and I'm speaking today in favor of a permanent status for the voting centers. I served as a presiding judge at Worth Heights Community Center for the November 5th election, and the day went very well. First, because my clerks were very well trained, and I credit that to the persistence of the Tarrant election staff and the hours they put in. Our equipment worked perfectly. We had no glitches at any time. But mostly, we had very happy voters who liked the combination of the new voting machines and the convenience of the voting centers. Because of the voting centers, we had voters from other precincts who were working in the area and voted with us. And the e-poll book made that a very simple process. And we did not have any issues with our e-poll book. In fact, it's my opinion that the e-poll book is an integral part of the success of voting centers. It was easy to locate voters, make changes in names and addresses, and keep voters moving smoothly through the line. In the past, I will tell you, I have dreaded having to handle paperwork when changes needed to be made. With the e-poll book, the paperwork is printed at the same time the barcode is printed. The voter can sign that paperwork while the controller scans the barcode and prints the voting machine code. It was very simple, required very minimal time for voters to just keep right on moving through the line. Because of the convenience of being able to vote anywhere in Tarrant County and the efficiency of the e-poll book, I encourage you to vote for permanent status for the voting centers. And that comes from just personal experience as an election judge in a voting center. It went very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Vera Roberts. Good morning, how are you?
I'm blessed, thank you. My name is Vera Roberts. I am the election judge liaison for Tarrant County Democratic Party. It is my task every year to get judges in each site. This has been an enjoyable event this year because we had more judges step up. Though I agree there were a few glitches, those glitches can be fixed as far as the sites, people going to the different sites and the lines being longer, but we expected that because people you can go work, leave your job, go down the road and vote, not having to go all the way back home and miss the opportunity to vote. We have compiled a list of all of the glitches and all the changes that all the suggestions that we're going to give to Tarrant County election to make those glitches correct those glitches. And I don't have a copy for you today, but I will be sharing that with Tarrant County election. If they choose to share it with you, that would be a wonderful thing. And I just ask that you keep the sites as the polling locations intact, because a lot of people are happy with the opportunity to vote where they are at that particular time of the day. Blessings. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Next is Margaret Beauchart. It's hard for me to get used to saying Margaret instead of Peggy. Good morning.
Hi there. I am Peggy Borchert, or Margaret Borchert, Precinct 1. I'm here to not be in favor of the sites. Elections have consequences. It seems for quite a while the interest has been in making voting easy. Get out the vote by making it easy. Is that our goal? Make it easy? Elections have consequences. Make it easy should not be our first concern. Was the vote taken, was it accurate? That should be our main concern. And maybe it was. I don't really know. How do we know? What are the consequences of making it easy when we rear our children? Children who are arrogant and demanding and believe the world owes them something. What has happened to our children by making it easy? Instead of educating to encourage our children to go higher, by making it hard and by common sense discipline, we have made it easy by dumbing down the standards and by removing simple discipline. Our gifted children become lazy, and the challenged children think they are smart because of the low standards. By making it easy, we have created an undisciplined, lawless, spoiled, arrogant, demanding, unhappy, uneducated population who think they are victims, who leave high school unable to read or know their math. What is voting about? Is it about pandering to people's natural laziness and indifference that have to be bribed to vote? No, it is about getting the best people to represent us so we can preserve our republic that our founders fought to give us. Make sure I'm not, let's see, okay, I better hurry up. Voting centers. Why have voting centers? To make it easy to vote? What is the most important thing about an election? The most important thing is that the people who are elected, that the people are educated who will, so that they know who to vote for. And anyway, I'm going to skip because I know. What was the experience as an alternate judge at the last election? I don't know. Did we have a fair election? That's all I care about. Was it easy? I don't care about that. Was it fun? Yes. Was it easy? Yes. Except for the setup and taking down and when a ballot misfunctioned. Did I enjoy myself? Yes. Did I know the people? No. Only some, because more than half were not from my precinct. Do I know that the vote taken represented what the educated voters intended? No, I don't know that. Did it represent my community, my precinct? No. Whoopsie. Here we go. Can I know who in my precinct voted so that I can help educate the people in my precinct? No. Is it easier to compromise the election? I'd say yes. On election day, the ballots for particular precincts are mixed with the ballots from people who live in other precincts so that we don't have a paper record of how each precinct voted. Why do we need precincts? What's the purpose of a precinct? I read this on the internet. A precinct captain, also known as a precinct chairman, precinct delegate, or precinct committee officer, is an elected official in the American political party system. The office establishes a direct link between a political party and the voters in a local election district. So we have our little community, because we're always talking about community, but we're kind of dividing our community now, because now we don't have an election community. Now we're just can vote anywhere, so we're not a community anymore. Making it easy to is not the primary concern. Getting everyone to vote is not the primary concern. Getting an accurate vote is the primary concern. Did we get an accurate vote? Are we working to get an accurate vote? Did we get one? I don't know. And as to the fact that we had more people voting, I can't really see.
30 seconds, I'm sorry.
Did we have more people voting? Yeah, we did, because we had Prop 4 on there about nobody wanting to have a sales tax in Texas. So it wasn't because of the voting machines, I don't believe, that we had a big turnout. It was because everybody was out voting for that one particular proposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I have an Arch Mayfield from 6140 Avery Drive, Fort Worth. Does not wish to speak, but says, I fully support Tarrant County vote centers. I have a Rod Adams and a Shirley Adams, two different forms. Did not wish to speak, wants a continuation, supports continuation of the vote centers. And to this point, that's all I have. If there's anyone else wishing to speak at this time, then I would ask them to please raise their hand and then go complete a form. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is, Mr. Garcia is going to come forward, fill out a form. Somebody get them a form. Is Russell going to get them a form? So in just a minute, we'll get you forms, and if you'll scribble in your name, then we'll let you put your address and stuff on there just shortly.
May I change mine? I have one up there. May I change it to speak? You got it from me, Shirley Adams.
Oh, well then come on forward, Miss Adams, and then, yes, as long as.
Thank you very much,
Morning.
Commissioners Court and Judge. I'm Shirley Adams at 3915 Crossbend Drive, Arlington, Texas. And I'd like to address the issue of it being easy. It's a right to have to vote in the United States. If you're 18 and you're a U.S. citizen, you have the right to vote. This is our way of expressing our First Amendment right of public speech. Those of us who don't hold public office, this is the way that we go. We vote. We go to express our opinion and let our voice be heard. Out of that, you develop policies and procedures that affect our daily lives. So we are interested, regardless of, and we hope people are educated voters and they pay attention to the issues, and I think most people do. And I think the opportunity to vote is one of the privileges and one of the beautiful things about being in a democracy, is that you help to shape that democracy to expressing your voice at the voting polling place. So I thank you, and I would support continuation of the vote centers. We would hope more people come out, and that we make it an opportunity, we make it accessible to all those who desire to have their voices heard. So I thank you for your consideration, and we do support it wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Ms. Hyman. There was another gentleman. Have you come on forward and Mr. Manius, if you will grab his
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Charles Pond. And of course, I break it. My name is Charles Pond, and I live at 1509 Creation Point Drive in Mansfield. As an alternate judge, we had a very easy time at our polling place. Now, the only glitch that we had was due to my problem in not following exactly the way I was trained, and it was overcome easily. But my point is that we should make the only thing that we really need to make easy in this country is voting, because every person deserves the right to vote, and they need to vote easily. And in the past, I believe that people were being disenfranchised with not being turned away from a polling location because they mistakenly went to the wrong polling location. In fact, at the polling location where I was, there were people that lived just 2 blocks away, did not normally vote in that location. Now they were able to vote, and they were able to vote easily. And so we had an increase in our voting at that location. So it is something that I believe should be continued, and I truly hope it is continued. Thank you. Yes.
How do you spell your last name?
P-O-N-D, like a lake.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Pond.
Thank you.
Now, that's all the audience participation forms I have at this time. If there's no one else wishing to speak at this time, then I'm going to close the public hearing. Mr. Garcia, what other comments would you have, or what questions, Court, do you have?
I don't have any questions, just a comment. I know yesterday when we had our special call meeting to canvass the votes, we had a pretty healthy discussion about some of the equipment issues. So even though this hearing and this agenda item is not specifically about the equipment, it's about the vote centers, I wanted to make sure for anyone who brought up issues about the equipment and training that has been discussed, and that the Elections Administration obviously is working to address those issues, especially leading up to the primary. But I appreciate everyone for coming today and for sharing that information, Ms. Tobridge, and then also for Ms. Roberts. I look forward to reviewing that so that I can have the best understanding of what the concerns were, in addition to what's already been shared with me. But I think it's important that we have the best understanding of the issue so that we can have the least amount of glitches this next election cycle.
And I would echo that. I had, in our conversations yesterday, I know that training is the big thing. We're new equipment, not only new equipment, but then on election day, instead of having paper ballots that everyone filled out, we had the new equipment. So there was a lot of getting used to. I will say that, with the exception of a couple of the comments that were made here this morning, I have had no one really come to me and say, we want you to scrap the system, or that we want you to go back to the way it was. From that standpoint, they were very pleased with the ability to go anywhere to vote. And they liked the fact that they had a paper ballot that they could look at and see and make sure that when they push that vote, now when they actually put the ballot into the scanner, that they know what that ballot had on it. I do think that with regard, it's the same thing you said, this is kind of outside the vote center part of the deal. But with regards to the equipment and the setup, and I hope, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, about having training videos. What I heard time and again from some of the election workers, I went to training, but I went to it weeks ago, and so when I actually got there, I was still a little hazy on. And so I really think that little 1-minute snippets on this is where YouTube, whether it be a YouTube, whether it be a video, whatever it may be, that would be available to the workers, as well as maybe some sort of a video that we run on the walls that show the people who are coming in to vote, here's how you place the ballot in the voting machine, and here's how you place the ballot in a scanner, and just especially until people get used to it. Because as I've said to a number of folks, people who came in on election day, this was the first time they haven't used a paper ballot. And many of the poll workers in the past, they were basically passing out paper ballots as opposed to hooking up equipment and doing that. So, I think it will take some getting used to. But just as it specifically pertains to the vote centers, I think the fact that we had over 50% of the people vote outside of their precincts says that they were very interested in convenience of the vote. And Peggy, I understand what you're saying with regards to it shouldn't be easy, but when it comes to where you vote, yes, it should be, in my opinion. I am excited about going to the vote centers. What I basically heard from our folks and from many of the folks in Tarrant County was the same thing that I had heard from the commissioners in the other counties that had gone to vote centers, and that they were overwhelmingly supportive of going to the vote center concept.
Which makes too much sense.
It does to me from that perspective, and so we can take action at this time.
Yes, we can.
What's the timeline that we have that we need to do with the?
We need to submit to the Secretary of State by December 6th. That's a deadline. A letter signed by county judge requesting to be considered for permanent status, successful status, which would make us permanent. So I'm putting together the numbers, pretty much what I showed you on the screen, on a kind of a report format, so that then we can ask, or if you take the action now and you're already ready to issue, just.
The action that we're going to request today is that the Commissioners Court approve the submission of an application to the Texas Secretary of State's office for a determination of a successful status level.
That is
for
my
Tarrant County.
motion.
I second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Otter.
And thank you, Megan, for helping me.
Ms. Tidwell. Look and see if she's over.
She is.
Morning. Good morning. We have one item. The Government Code related to Public Funds Investment Act requires the governing body to perform an annual review of the investment policy. The policy is attached. There was a minor change related to this session of the state legislature dealing with the number of days of commercial paper. Everything else is as previous. and I would ask for any comments, and if not, your approval.
Move for approval.
Did you make the motion?
I did.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I move to receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Receive and file the personnel agenda. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Beecham. So you're going to miss next week. I just want to be sure you're not going to be here.
I might come back for certain things, but
Yeah, I bet you will show back up if y'all happen to win.
I noticed Mr. Wilder was not in costume, but I'm going to guess he was probably wearing a Darth Vader name tag if I had to guess that. But we have 3 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2020-005. This is annual contract for mosquito control pesticides and products. Our recommendation would be to award a per enterprise basis and discount for items not listed, awarding to the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors by section and item. Is shown in your court communique.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 2 is an item in regards to bid 2019-224. This was initially it's an annual contract for preventive maintenance on air handling and cooling equipment. This was initially approved in Commissioner Court October 1, 2019 under Court Order 131263. On October 28th, we received notice from Johnson Control saying they could not honor their pricing due to misunderstanding of the equipment as shown in the bid. November 1, received the same notice from the secondary award, Alpha Mechanical Contractors, stating pretty much the same thing. This affects one item, which would be the criminal courts building. We are asking that we reject or cancel the primary award, secondary award for item number 5, and award to the next low bidder, Assured Mechanical Solutions.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Have we checked with the next low bidder to make sure
Yes,
they're
sir.
going to be able to do it?
Yes, sir, they want to play.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Last item, item in regards to RFP 2019-254, which is a request for proposal for master property boiler machinery insurance. We are recommending rejection of the proposals that were received, which are over budget. And upon recommendation of Budget Risk Management, utilize the Texas Associated of Counties Insurance Pool Program.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you have an interlocal agreement.
Yes, has the DA's office approved this interlocal?
It has, Commissioner.
I would move approval of item N1, A, and B.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Are there any appointments today? Being none, then you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims and the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion to second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And we have no executive session today?
We have an executive session.
We do.
But no briefing.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'll have to recess our open meeting and proceed to closed session to discuss items exempted under section 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code.
Donna, she fell for it.
Oh, she fell hook, line, and
This was
sinker.
there.
We had her going. She was thinking. Is he there?
Not yet.
Come on, JD, sneak in here.
So you must be talking to somebody.
Having returned from our closed session, there being no business to conduct at this time, we are adjourned.
And I'm here.